Welcome to another episode of Sasquatch and Cigars. Today, we are going to be talking about some of the legend and lore surrounding Sasquatch. While we are doing that, we're going to be trying out a Rocky Patel Disciple for the first time. I've never had this cigar. I've gotten good reports about it. This particular cigar is Nicaraguan tobacco wrapped in a Mexican San Andreas leaf, creating a medium to full-bodied cigar. Should have some notes of earth, wood, and a mild pepper taste. This particular cigar I bought at Casa de Monte Cristo Cigar Bar and Lounge, which is where I'm currently at. The cigar was $13.25 plus tax, so for just under $15 for a premium cigar. Not bad. I will be talking off the notes because I don't have a good memory, but let's light up the cigar and we'll get to going. This is a pretty dark wrapper, the leaf, and it has this wrapper on the bottom. Smells pretty good. Again, I prefer the punch cut.
Is there any other things that you typically look for outside of that? Are there any other red flag or things that you look for to know whether or not? Well, I feel like we have enough to get us if we started.
Pretty good smoke.
We talked about getting back together on Friday, all those things together. What time on Friday would work best for you?
All right. So, long before Bigfoot became a cultural icon, there were many Native American tribes and stories about him. They told stories of powerful, hairy forest beings. These weren't monsters, but deeply meaningful figures, guardians, warnings, or spirit neighbors, reflecting a worldview where humans were only one part of the natural world. Some of the earliest tribes, the Salish peoples, British Columbia and Washington, had beings called Saskets, meaning often translated as hairy men or wild men. Their descriptions were large human-like beings covered with hair. The role in their ancestry was not simply an animal, often portrayed as a spiritual or liminal being living between the human and the spirit worlds. Sometimes a guardian to the forest, sometimes dangerous if disrespected. As a side note, this is pretty much where everyone says that the word Sasquatch came from. The Chehalis, they have oral traditions. In the early 1900s, indigenous stories recorded by J.W. Burns, Sasquatch were described as living in family groups, speaking a language, avoiding humans unless provoked. These stories were told as ancestral knowledge, not as campfire fiction. In California, in the Southwest, you have the Yokuts. They have stories of hairy men, often cited by tribal members as evidence of ancient tradition, not modern invention. They're described as hairy men, large, and having been present before humans. Now, kind of an interesting note, there is fossil evidence of a large ape creature called Gigantopithecus. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. I think it's Gigantopithecus. I've seen videos on that. So maybe, just maybe, they didn't die out when we think they did, and maybe they survived. Not sure. The Cheyenne and Arapaho have stories of giant wild people who lived in the hills, avoided camps, occasionally left large footprints, usually treated as real but rare, not a supernatural monster.
Yeah. Good.
The Iroquois have legends of stone giants or hairy giants, more supernatural than Sasquatch. These beings often represented the power of wilderness, the boundary between human society and nature, moral lessons about humanity, respect, and survival. Modern Bigfoot culture often blends these traditions into a single creature, which oversimplifies the diversity of the Iroquois beliefs. So that's a little bit of backstory, talking about how Sasquatch predates the colonial people that came here from Europe. The Native Americans had stories of him going further back. It's kind of an interesting note. Still not 100% sure if I believe that he's real or not. Again, so we're just getting into the first third of the cigar. I'm getting kind of a woodsy taste from it. Today I'm kind of pairing it with a soda. I don't really have a mixed drink. It's a little early in the afternoon for that. Anyways, so let's see. Again, we'll go into more history on Sasquatch later on in other videos. I just wanted to touch on some of the Native American stories, and I may go into more depth on those in a later video as I do a little bit more research on them to find out, where sightings were, what they said, and basically give a backstory as we dive down this rabbit hole called Bigfoot. Anyways, God bless. Have a good day.
We'll do that. We'll get together. We'll put all the resumes and write-ups together, and then we'll bring those with us. We'll probably still need to use our computers just to go through all the information better, but we'll do it face to face. That'll be the first meeting. I think we used to run this over Teams, but I love the idea. So, cool. Well, that's I think that's all that I need. Let's buy some together.